Reality. Therapist perception.
Bachelorette. All right, so this is Reactivity TV. This is our therapist perception of reality TV. Bachelor in Paradise episodes 4 and 5.
Yes, week 3.
Week 3.
Another 4 hours.
Another 4 hours of our week spent in Bachelor Nation.
Deep in Bachelor Nation. Yeah. Yes. And we know that there are people who listen to us but don't necessarily watch the show yet. Mm-hmm. But just to give a brief overview of Bachelor in Paradise, it is a bunch of single people from the Bachelor franchise who meet on the beach in order to form connections, date, I guess you would say, and hopefully find love, maybe get engaged. We don't know. And so that's really the purpose is it's a dating show in a kind of a casual dating sense. And yes. And I think the thing that is also important for us to also remind our listeners or our viewers, if you're watching us on YouTube, is that we are only reacting to what we see portrayed to us on the screen, not taking into account who these people are outside of the show, what their social media presence is like, any of that. We're just reacting to and responding to what we see on the screen from a therapist perspective.
Yes. And we're not giving any spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah. I actually stay away from them because I want to see what happens for myself.
Yes.
As much as I can.
Yes. So I know we were chatting and our Bachelor group chat was also a buzz.
Alive.
There was a lot going on this week. And so I know we had like quite a few moments that we wanted to touch on this week. So What do you got?
Okay. So unpopular opinion, but I really loved them bringing Ashley and Jared on. I thought it was adorable. I love mushy, gushy, lovey-dovey things, and I thought that that's what that was. And it was just, it was a nice little way to see the happily ever after kind of, if you can get to the end of the show, what could happen to you? Like, you could be like this for them. And it actually showed some pretty real things of what married couples go through. So I really like that. I just want to put that out there. And part of what I liked was that moment that they had on the beach together where they were just reflecting on their time on Bachelor in Paradise, meeting and getting together and that rocky start that they had. And then now their marriage and their parenthood and how much they still love each other. And I just thought that conversation was really sweet and it was sweet. It was endearing. And it was something that couples don't do enough. And I just think that it was a meaningful conversation that a lot of couples avoid. A lot of couples deep in relationships get just in the routines of things and just kind of lose sight of reconnecting and continuing to connect. And so I thought that was a great way for them to show how important that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know, yes, definitely like an unpopular opinion to have loved that. I know Bachelor Nation was sort of like, why are they here? Yeah. And again, for those of you non-Bachelor viewers, Ashley and Jared met in Bachelor in Paradise season 2. We're now at Bachelor in Paradise season 7, so they've been like really peripheral from the franchise for quite some time, but they did have kind of like a rocky road to dating, and now they're married. They have a baby, a newborn, and they own a business together, and so their relationship has really, really grown. And I have to say I appreciated really watching them talk about like how differently Ashley in particular, who was laser focused on Jared from the minute she knew about him, and like in my opinion or assessment and kind of like watching it back then, is she just really wanted Jared to like her and like really wanted to be perfect for Jared to like her, and so she wasn't really totally herself. And we hear her saying like, you know, I never could have like done the things I'm doing now in front of you then. And I thought that was such a like very relatable moment in just growing more comfortable and more secure in yourself and your relationship over time. I also thought it was like so relatable that they're a relatively new married couple, and they have a new baby, and they just kept like hitting on like they haven't had so much time together as husband and wife, that their roles have really become more about being mom and dad. And that is so relatable to a couple that's recently had a baby and or just has kids in general. Mm-hmm. And then I also was kind of thinking about what you were saying. Ashley said something really great. One of her strengths has been appreciating what she has while she has it. And it does seem like she recognizes like those moments to really lean in and talk about and appreciate their relationship. And that's kind of a great recipe to stay in love, so to speak, like that you continue to build those connections, build on the connections that you have really intentionally. And yeah, I kind of loved it too.
I brought you in.
Catherine convinced me.
I did. I actually had to write to Amy and be like, no, this is why it's so great. You don't understand.
Yes, she converted me. So yeah, I loved that.
Yeah. I have a couple of others, but why don't you go ahead
and
you share one.
Sure. So mine are kind of smaller moments that I thought were, one of the things I've shared is that I like Bachelor in Paradise because it feels so representative of like modern dating or dating, especially with apps and with social media and things like that. And I was thinking about the scene, I guess, when Aaron was watching Genevieve kiss Justin, and Genevieve and Aaron had just gone on a date, had what seemed to be like a really great time, great connection, great conversation. They made out a little bit, seemed to really enjoy each other, and then Genevieve, for reasons I'm unclear on, I guess to just check in with Justin, it was his birthday, had gone over and just chatted, and then she ended up kissing him, and Aaron was just watching this happen, and he wasn't moving. And I was kind of thinking, like, dude,
like, kept watching.
Leave.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to yourself? And it just kind of reminded me of social media and how we're not all privy to maybe what our like people we're dating or maybe people we were previously dating are doing. Like we don't get to view them on a beach 24/7.
We don't get to look in a crystal ball.
Right. Except with social media, that is one way that we can maybe still stay up to date on whether it's people that we're currently casually dating are doing, or people that we previously dated are, following exes on social media. Like, there's such a temptation to do that and just see what's going to happen, but it is so unhelpful, and yet it is such a thing. And so that felt like social media in real life.
Yeah, no, it totally was. He really was just standing by as if he was continuing to follow Genevieve on or
her story.
Look at her story and see what she's up to, and yeah, no, you're so right. It was just this moment where he was just kind of torturing himself.
Unnecessarily. Yeah. So that was my mini moment.
Another mini moment that I wanted to point out was this cute dynamic that started to grow between Jacob and Jill, and that it didn't seem like it was there in the beginning. All of a sudden in this episode or this week, it was like, oh, they've been getting along and like they've been into each other. And they started out their date that was a very intimate type of date. They started out really silly and they were playing, and that was really working for them. It was kind of like coming out of the beach where they were being really silly, they were being really playful. And then it got to a point where it got a little more intimate between them. It got a little more serious. But I just wanted to point out the value of that, the play and the laughter, and how important that is in a relationship. I think a lot of times, especially in this show, people are really like leaping into the seriousness and getting into like the depths of vulnerability and all of that. But like then they lose sight of how great all this other playful, really, really important stuff is too. And yeah, so I just found that refreshing. And
yeah, no, that's such a great point. Like, I think especially, you know, with dating, it can feel like, let's get down to business. Like, are we a match or not? Like, are we dating or not? And you can lose sight of that, the relationship building piece that can be rooted in joy and playfulness and laughter. And at the same time is also a way to be really vulnerable with someone. We talk about that a lot as therapists, that joy and vulnerability are actually like two of the most vulnerable emotions that you can have, that you can share with someone. And so being able to put yourself out there, to be totally in the moment and laugh, that's so meaningful and like a great building block for a relationship that's, you know, based in vulnerability, but in a different way that's not about sharing kind of like a deep story, which is how we see vulnerability portrayed on the show often.
Absolutely. Yeah. You got another?
Yes. All right. So I was kind of thinking about the concept of good on paper, so to speak, because I think in dating, and we saw it play out, that when someone is kind of considering like who they might want to date, they might have kind of a mental list or maybe like an actual list of attributes or qualities, some of which are superficial, that they are looking for in a partner, or there might be reasons that a particular person or type of person makes sense to date. And that doesn't always play out. And so I was thinking about the interaction between Lace and Rodney, where they were kind of having a conversation about, you know, what's your type? And that's such a like hard question to answer. I think Rodney said like you without knowing her, which I thought was funny. And then Lace kind of listed off, you know, I'm really looking for someone who's 6 feet or over and plays golf. And okay, like I could understand why playing golf might be helpful. I mean, golf takes up a lot of time. And so like it might be nice to have a shared...
So she wants to kick him out.
Might be nice to have it. Maybe it's a shared hobby. Yeah, maybe she knows she'll have like a weekend day to herself because golf takes many hours. I don't know. There's a lot of dedication and I don't know.
Or she's cooked up some idea of what it means to be 6 feet and a golfer.
Exactly. And so I thought that was like such a funny moment, but also like kind of a relatable moment of, yeah, we might concoct these ideas about what might make a person a match for us that we don't know where they're rooted in, but sometimes that can like put blinders on where we might not pick up on someone in front of us who might actually be a good match, who might not also be 6 feet and not a golfer. But we also see it kind of play out between Andrew and Teddy. And they, on each of their seasons, were like the sweethearts of their seasons. And I know I said before we're gonna like kind of leave out like social media Bachelor franchise, but part of what is true is that there was a lot of talk like amongst Bachelor Nation of like, oh my gosh, these two should get together. They'd be so great. They're both adorable, and I think they had both gone on separate podcasts and said like, I'd really love to meet Andrew, or I'd really love to meet Teddy. And so there was all of this like hype around them meeting, and like such a good on paper like example. They're like both beautiful people, beautiful personalities. Like it seemed like it should work. Everybody wanted it to, and they tried, but the chemistry just wasn't there. And I really respect Teddy in that she was able to say like, something's missing here, and I need to like leave or leave this relationship rather than kind of staying in it and making it work. And that's really hard to do, especially when it feels like it's the right thing. You're checking all the boxes. Yeah. So that was another one of my mini moments.
Right. So it's like thinking that you have this list, this checklist, and thinking up what this person's like, and then you actually potentially have the opportunity to meet that person, and then it kind of can catch you off guard if you're thinking like, wow, I really thought this was going to work out well. I really thought that this was going to be a good match.
I have to say, this new schedule is like messing with my sleep. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, I'm like getting ready for bed in commercial breaks.
I know. Yes, I know. I had a couple more like mini moments too, but I think I want them to play out a little bit more before I give my therapist perception.
Yes, yeah, agreed.
Okay. Well, we will be back next week with more Reactivity TV moments. But let us know if you liked this shorter format.
Yeah.
I know we've usually picked one kind of moment each, and we've dived a little bit more into it. And this week we did a little different. So let us know what you prefer. All right.